Hello everybody and welcome to Dynamic GT League's Xanassin Trophy. Before we get this season started, we've got a quick message from the Dynamic GT League admins. Well, if that didn't get you a little teary-eyed, you haven't got a heart. Although I will admit, I can imagine that this announcement has come as a bit of a surprise to everybody, and it was intended to be. Now, with it being announced before the first race of the Xanassin Trophy, you may think that the car is an expensive one. It isn't, but I'll get on to that in a moment. What I need to let everybody know as a message from the DGT admins is that the season we are about to get underway with, the Xanassin Trophy, is being used as a test. A test as to whether we're ready to go to much faster cars. So for example, if it's absolute carnage for the whole championship, then the chances are we're not going to be going to cars yet that are faster than the Xanassin Trophy. However, if it isn't absolute carnage, then we could potentially go to much faster cars. The problem with that though is that those much faster cars tend to be expensive. So the DGT admins realise that they can't do the test and potentially use a much faster car and a much more expensive car in the next championship. It wouldn't give you enough time to save the money. However, what we could do, and they have decided to do, is for us to use an extremely cheap, iconic car that's nice to drive for a championship. It only costs 45,000 credits, so it's not going to break anybody's bank, and it means that you can save up plenty of money for over the course of 2 championships for what potentially may be a very expensive car. Now, some of you may be wondering about why we're not using some of the cars that have been tested recently, the likes of different Group 4 cars or the Super Formulas or the old F1 car, or specific cars within a certain N range like N600s. We've been doing a lot lately. Well, the reason we've not gone for one of those is this reason. If it turns out that the test of the Xanassin Trophy Championship turns out that we're not quite ready to go to those much faster cars, it means that we've got plenty of options for the following championship, while having given everybody 2 championships to save up any money that is required to buy that car or future cars. So it's all done in the aim of giving us some iconic looking, great fun racing, money making championship after the Xanassin Trophy. But as a reminder guys, the Xanassin Trophy is a test for the future. Good luck everybody, enjoy yourselves, have fun out there, and let's see how the championship goes. Here we go then, it's time to get the party started. So welcome to Dynamic GT League's Xanassin Trophy for race 1 of 9 from the Monza Grand Prix circuit. We all know this track, many of us love this track, some hate it. Either way, it's going to be the first place we go to race with the Nissan Xanassin. Qualifying you won't get to see, but was 15 minutes long. Let's see who came out on top from that session. On pole position we have Steve F1 with a time of 1:37.492, and he's joined on the front row by Demon R, barely a tenth behind him. On row 2 we've got DGT League SGP, and he'll start alongside Dave the Harp. Mitch starts on row 3 alongside Mandalorian, while Groover, great starting position for him in 7th place, he's joined on row 4 by Tyler. Twilight and Fluffy Planet are going to make up row 5, while Conrad and Bunsell will make up row 6. Formerly Gary and Rich Blues make up row 7. Unfortunately, a few drivers unable to make today's race, but I think it's time to head over to the action. And joining me on commentary today is James. James, you looking forward to carnage at Monza today?
No, definitely, especially turn 1. That is carnage central.
So here we go then, the drivers are ready for the first race of the Xanassin Trophy. Steve F1 on the spy cam today as we get ready for the lights to go out, and away they go, and it looks like a poor start from Steve F1, a little bit too much wheel spin. Demon R's had a brilliant start, and SGP making his way into 2nd place.
Yeah, this is absolutely horrific for Steve F1. He's going to lose tons of places down into turn 1.
Demon R takes the lead. No, he's going off. He's off. It's disconnected! I don't believe it! It's gone, James!
They had disconnected, no, he's just run deep and the game's resetting, so he's sitting now right plumb last. And Dave the Harp, he's looking to try and take the lead here off SGP.
That he is. Dave the Harp burns tyres, but he loves Monza and he loves overtaking around the outside into the 2nd chicane, the Della Rosia. That's a beautiful move. We've seen him do it in the past in different cars. That's a great move. So Dave the Harp now leading the race. SGP 2nd place, Mitch in 3rd. Steve F1 though, he's dropped down to 4th. And
Mando's having a look at him, and he's had to run a bit deep there because Mando had a look, and Fluffy's trying to get past Mando. So here we go, under the bridge, and that's the old banking for the old Monza circuit. I wish that in these cars they could have a go around there, but here we go. Fluffy, so close to Mando, but he managed just about to get in front there.
I saw in the background as well. Sorry, Groover was offside. I'm guessing he got hit going into Ascari then. But sorry to cut you off then. SGP closing in a little bit on Dave the Harp. Just want to mention as well, a reminder, Steve F1 is on the spy cam, so you can keep an eye on what happens with him throughout the course of this race. And if you do actually want to enlarge his footage onto the screen, you can always double click on the bottom right corner and see what happens.
Yeah, Mitch
absolutely there. Nothing, by the way, for anyone that's just tried that.
Mando's having a look back at Fluffy down towards turn 1. He had his nose a bit bent out of shape going through Ascari, but he's trying to get back in front now, and I think he's just about done it. I think further up though, I think Mitch is having a look at SGP here.
He is trying to have a sneaky look at SGP. We've seen Dave Yard make the move. Mitch is having a look up the inside, but realises it's not quite on, or he may have run a little bit deep. SGP also may have run a little bit deep, and in the background Mando, Fluffy still battling away. That's a beautiful shot, that, as the cars make their way through the Della Rogia chicane and into the Lesmos. Mitch really pressuring SGP, but Dave the Harp pulling away, James.
Yeah, I think SGP's looking in his mirrors a bit too much, and he's allowing Dave the Harp to get away. A little bit of an update on Demon R. He's now sitting in 8th place, so he's managed to make up a few places from that awful start where he braked a bit too late. And here's Steve F1 now. Can he have a go at Fluffy, or is Fluffy going to bend his nose out of shape here.
You know what, Fluffy's done well there, braking a little bit later than Steve F1, but Steve F1 he's tried to get the maximum on the exit of the corner. Demon R all over the back of Bunsell. May be able to get that. No, he's going to slot in behind and go for the slipstream. To be fair, Bunsell is a guy that you either want behind your bump drafting you, or you can bump draft him and you know he'll bump draft you back. But Demon R trying to make the move. No, he's not. He's slotted in behind. Conrad in the background trying to attack Formula Gary as well.
Oh, we've got some guys going for the pit lane. It's Mandalorian. He's straight in there. That's lap end of lap 2. So I think he's wanting to fill his fuel tank up and get going. But Steve F1, he's having a little look at Fluffy now. He needs to do him on the brakes. He cannot spend any more time sitting behind Fluffy.
It's a lovely move.
To fight for the win.
It's a lovely move, that Mitch, though. He's now pressuring SGP once again. He's got a better run on SGP on this occasion. I think he's going to have the overtake done here unless SGP can go around the outside like David Harp did earlier, but I don't think he's going to try that. No, he'll go for the better exit out of the corner. Mitch getting a little bit out of shape there. Just want to mention as well, Demon R did get past Bunsell on the main straight, but got to mention as well, James, Mandalorian pitted. Oh, it's Demon R's coming past Fluffy. Fluffy's had a nightmare. Second chicane there. No, he's not coming past. He's going to have to slot in behind. Yeah, Mandalorian's pitted quite early there, and we've got to mention that one of the changes in the regulations in this championship is that the drivers are going to start every race with 50 litres of fuel in the car, half a tank basically, which means things are going to be a little bit different this championship.
Yeah, in other words, no one stops anymore, which is what I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, Bunsell here, he's looking a little bit reckless.
Oh, he's looking at the barrier as well. It's alright, sponsored by DeWalt, he can fix that.
Aye, definitely. The barrier, not his car, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Anyway, David Hart's got a decent lead here over Mitch in P2.
Is Dave the Alps having an interesting race here? Now, I will admit, I do know that he has... Oh, someone dived into the pits there. Fluffy Planet diving into the pits. So yeah, when Mandalorian went into the pits, he had 30% of fuel left. Fluffy Planet had 19% of fuel left. So it just goes to show how little amount of fuel the guys have got. But if you pit too soon, James, you're probably going to have to pit twice more. Whereas if you can make this first stint eke out a little bit, you can do it on a two-stop strategy overall. Yeah.
There is Conrad sitting behind, I think that's Gary. Yeah, it is. Yeah. And Groover's there just sitting behind them. Let's see how Conrad's doing here. I think trying to have a little look. This chicane is quite difficult.
Oh no, Connor into the barrier. You know what? Gary got himself a little out of shape there, and I think Connor had to take a bit of evasive and lost the rear end. It's so easily done through the Della Roggia chicane in these cars. I mean, these cars are brilliant cars to drive, but they can be a little bit on edge over a few sausage curves, and especially if you dip a few wheels in the gravel. Groover then trying to pressure Gary. But I
think especially at high speed corners, this car loves low speed corners. It's a little bit cumbersome, and corners like this final corner that Dave Hart's heading up towards now, he absolutely loves. But little dinky chicanes, he's not a massive fan of.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's something to do with the first and second gear in this car. It definitely makes things a little bit tricky. Dave Harp then heading into the pits with a little bit less fuel than Mitch, who has also followed him into the pits. But SGP, he's continued on. And tell you what, SGP was hurting after the last championship, losing out on the title to Steve F1 in the manner that he did. But
so that explains when Mitch got past SGP, he's clearly done a bit of fuel saving to do this extra lap. I don't think that you can do this lap without doing a little bit of fuel saving.
I think you could be absolutely right there, as Tyler trying to put a bit of pressure on the Walker's liveried Groover. But that's a lovely bit of battle in there from the two of them. That's a good fight.
Yeah, I was getting a bit mixed up there with Walker's livery. I'm thinking Gary had had that with Gary Lineker. But anyway,
that's clever for you, James. Bloody hell, you must have had an early Saturday night.
I've had my breakfast. That's what's happened.
Tyler!
Tyler in that absolutely lovely retro livery. I'm liking that.
Interestingly as well, right, SGP hasn't pitted yet, Steve F1 hasn't pitted yet, Demon R hasn't pitted yet. I've got a feeling, with Demon R going as far back down the field as he did at the start, he would have turned the engine down straight away on that one to do extra laps. Now, to have quicker pit stops later on, because that's one of the benefits in this. If you can pit later earlier on and then fill the tank up, when it comes to doing your second stop, you've got a choice: wait until your tank's almost empty, or pit around the same time as others but spend less time in the pits.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mind game, this one, and SGP's into the pit lane. Steve F1's following him in, and Demon R's following him in as well. I think Groover might be doing it with that line round the final corner.
Yes, he is. Interestingly, Steve F1 had the least amount of fuel left out of SGP, Steve F1 and Demon R. But that's now put Tyler into the lead of the race. Mandalorian, who pitted earlier than most, he's now sitting in second place. I think Tyler may have pitted very early as well.
Yeah, I think Tyler pitted at the lap 1.
Oh, well, that'll be an extra pit stop for him, I reckon. Twilight coming past Steve F1, and here comes Gary. So Steve F1 is coming out in traffic, but Demon R's coming out behind a lot of it. He's lost a lot of time in the pit stop there.
But I think Demon R, we're hearing from our pit lane reporters that Demon R's got new tyres on and Steve F1's stuck with the same ones.
Well, I was going to say, is there much of a benefit? We might be able to find out, as Steve F1 trying to go around the outside of Gary and around the outside of Fluffy.
Steve F1 wanted less time in the pit lane, but now he's just been absolutely swamped by everybody, and Demon R's just rapidly closing in on him.
Exactly, sitting in this position. I mean, Steve F1 is trying to go for the move up the inside of Fluffy, but he can't quite get it done, I don't think. Demon R, he's trying to get past Gary, can't quite get that move done either. So this is kind of crucial at the moment for Steve F1 and Demon R, because, hang on a minute, where's SGP?
He's way out in front.
Yeah, that's why it's crucial for these guys. SGP's pulling away, and so is Dave Harp. Dave Harp's in third, and he's already done his pit stops, as this is getting a little bit hectic through Ascari.
Yeah, the key thing is getting held up in this pack, and to be fair, this pack's not huge, it's about a 5-car pack, but if you get stuck, you could be hemorrhaging time if the guys out in front are going 2 seconds a lap quicker.
Yeah, exactly. Steve F1 and finally gets past Fluffy, and looking now at SGP, who is closing in on the back of Bunsell. So we can see how much time SGP has gained over Steve F1, because it's about 5 seconds by the looks of it.
Yeah, definitely. Less time in the pit lane, and SGP's reaping the rewards here, and so that's an easy move on Bunsell. Next target for SGP is Mitch, and Demon out. Almost losing the rear end. But luckily for him, Fluffy's just gifted him that place by wiggling a bit more.
Yeah, that he has. I mean, it's so easily done though in any car around those corners. Oh, Mitch, that's all out of shape. That's all into the gravel. Oh, he's gonna have to be careful now with his dirty tyres. Oh, and he's trying to move out of the way, and he's collected SGP.
That was shocking. If you run off the circuit, when you come back on, you want to stay still. Not like put your foot on the brake, but just stay in.
SGP's spinning.
SGP's lost his head there. I'm not surprised. He's going to have to stay still. That's what you want. Stay still so you're not endangering anybody else's race. When Mitch came back on then, he saw SGP and thought, I'll pull out of your way, but at the same point, SGP thought, I'm going to go around you. Yeah. And it just ended in absolute disaster. Lesson there for me.
It's one of those, he's tried to do the right thing, he's just done it wrong, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what has that done? Well, it's put Bunsell into 4th place. Steve F1, he's under a lot of pressure from Twilight, who's got in this battle now, and Rich, who's bump drafting Demon R. Gary and Fluffy still there as well, with Mitch trying to make a move on Bunsell.
Yeah, Mitch trying to make amends for that gravel, but his tyres still will be a little bit dirty, so he needs to be aware of that.
He's bump drafting
it. Yeah, he's bump drafting Bunsell there. But Davey Hart's looking very, very pretty here in P3. He's already had his pit stop done, and he's going to go longer than the 2 guys in front.
Ooh, this is all getting a little bit hectic down at turn 1. Steve F1 finally breaks away. Demon R manages to get ahead of Fluffy as well, and now he will be hoping to break away. Let's see what's going on. Bunsell, he's trying to fight back, is he? No, he's being sensible. Live to fight another day. I think I said it right that time.
Oh no, Mitch! Oh, is he spun it again?
Oh no, I think he's just about safe. Mandalorian though, he is closing in on Tyler. These are the two early stoppers, and they're fighting a different fight to what Dave the Harp is at the moment. Dave the Harp's in a little bit of no man's land, to be fair.
But I think Dave the Harp's the first of the two stoppers, whereas these two have nailed on for a 3-stop race. But in a way, you can kind of see why they're wanting to do this. They've got clear air, apart from them. The two of them fighting over each other. If they trip over each other, they'll lose time. But they've got nobody else to worry about other than each other.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens when it comes to these two needing to pit again. Mandalorian's got a decent run on Tyler here. Is he going to bump draft him, or is he going to go for the move? He's going to go for the move, and this is one of the advantages of not being attacked from behind. He has the opportunity to go for the move, and it looks like, yeah, got that done. Tyler's not going to fight it into turn 1, and that's nice driving. I like that. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't ever fight. It's just sometimes you have to realise if the guy's next to you, as early as Mandalorian was there, you've got to give him the room. This might be a little bit different though. Yeah,
I think when you're 13 minutes into a race and you're doing the extra pit stop, you start fighting over each other. You're just gifting your positions away. And Demon are now really sizing up Steve F1, and with him having superior tyre wear now, Steve F1, I'm pretty sure he's going to be absolutely cacking it.
He will be. I mean, Demon R keeps having a look, but then tuck him back in. And maybe he's just having a look to see where the braking points are.
SGP has recovered very well. Sorry to break you off, but he's really recovered well.
That he has. So he's right up the gearbox of Gary. He's actually coming past Gary, and they're right behind. Oh, side by side through the second Lesmo.
I think Gary there completely bent SGP's nose.
That he could have done. By the way, apologies, folks, for mine and James's coughing and sneeze. Yeah. We've both had a Chinese, and we're both going to suffer from it. So SGP, I just need a bit of tongue as well. SGP is going to have another run at Gary. Mandalorian leading the way. Tyler heading into the. How much fuel's Tyler got? 21% of fuel. So he's not. That's a specifically timed pit stop, I think.
Yeah, but it's crucial though. Is he going to come out behind this pack? Because if he does, that's disaster.
Demon R is ahead of Steve F1 as SGP dives into the pits. We didn't see the overtake that Demon R made on Steve F1, but the move has been done. Steve F1 now fighting back in towards turn 1.
Yeah, so even though he's got less grip as Steve F1, he's still not in a position to completely give up.
Yeah.
He's still fighting tooth and nail, but there you can see on the exit of turn 2 there, the extra grip that Demon R has just give him half a car width, and that's all he needs to defend here.
Yeah, definitely. And Steve F1 will realise, I think he may have realised on the exit of that corner that Demon R has got the fresher tyres. Bunsel's made a bit of a mistake there, and to be fair, he recovered nicely, got himself back up to speed, and he slotted in front of Steve F1. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I think Demon R will want that. He's got a little bit of a breaker between himself. No, he hasn't got a breaker now. He's broken the wall.
Aye, that he has. That's unlucky for Bunsel. But one of the things with this car is if you have an off, you have to be so careful. You've got to look after these tyres, because if you don't, you'll find yourself going off again within a matter of corners. This car, you need to look after those tyres if you punish them too much. However, Dave the Harp, who normally absolutely destroys tyres, could be in a fantastic position at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's got at least 4 or 5 laps more fuel than Mandalorian, and I think Mandalorian's probably going to be pitting in the next laps. I think his fuel tank's going to be empty.
You could be right. Mitch has dived into the pits. That may be for a new set of tyres, as we're having a quick look at Conrad coming through the Ascari chicane. Bunsel, he's dived into the pits as well. That'll be for another set of tyres. Tyler, he pitted.
So we only pitted a couple of laps ago, but now he's behind the pack, and it's all about how swiftly he can make his way through now. And hopefully he's got new tyres, and he's attacking Groover now.
That he is. I mean, one of the things with these tyres, James, is you could probably make one set of tyres last the whole race here. I mean, fresh tyres will be quicker, but will cost you about 6 or 7 seconds in the pit lane to change them.
Yeah, I think if you come out in front of the pack, it's great if you don't change your tyres, but I think if you come out behind the pack, you need new tyres to really make a fight, otherwise you're going to get stuck in there, as Gary is now the head of the train with Twilight just the first carriage.
That he is. Choo choo and all that. You don't know what to say on that one, do you?
No, I really don't. But Tyler's making his way through. I think he's now having a look. Groove has pulled away from Tyler.
He has. I think Tyler may have been having a look at Mitch. Mandalorian then into the pits. He's going to come out behind Tyler, I think. Twilight attacking Gary, heading into the final corner of the Parabolica. Then we've got Groover. Then we've got Tyler and Mitch. I couldn't see who else that was. I think it's SGP. Yes, it is. SGP up the inside of Tyler. So Tyler is getting held up a little bit here.
Mandalorian just about to exit the pit lane now, and this is crucial where he feeds out with this pack.
Yeah, you're absolutely. Is that him there? That is. He's in the pit exit. Oh, the big contact!
Oh! Yeah, I think Mitch there got a little tapped into the back of Groover, and then I think he just absolutely cocked up his braking. That
he did, and here comes Vicky to give James a bollocking.
Oh no. But yeah, here we go. Mando's having a little look now at Tyler, and this is a battle for P7.
That it is. So, Tyler, Mandalorian side by side through the Dalarogia chicane, and if James needs to take a moment, I'm sure I can cope on my own for a few seconds. If not, I'll just die of coronavirus all on my own. I can't believe it's so selfish.
Vicky's just sprayed Febreze to help my throat.
That's good. It's tactical poisoning, that is, James. Okay, so what's the situation at the moment then? Well, almost halfway through the race, Dave the Harp leading the way. Mandalorian and Tyler, they were battling for first place. They're now side by side. No, they're not. Mandalorian is just ahead. Rich Blues is in there as well. Oh, he's a little bit sideways. I think Mitch may have gone into the back of SGP there, which sent SGP into Rich and Rich into the barrier.
Yeah, is Mitch going to slow down and let these two guys pass, because he did cause that?
I'm not sure. Can't see at the moment. I don't know if that's the corona or just the fact that I've only had an hour's sleep. Okay, Dave Hart leading the way. Demon R second. Steve F1 right behind him. Twilight, he's just pitted with 8% of fuel remaining. Yeah,
so SGP earlier on in the race came out just in front of these guys, and it was looking really, really good for him, and unfortunately it's just gone completely tits up. Groover's now sitting behind Gary, and Mandalorian's just been given a little nudge there from Tyler, so that might help him attack Groover here.
Yeah, it could do. Mandalorian likes to be aggressive, making his overtakes, as they say, do it for Yorkshire.
Yeah, he's got his Yorkshire branding on his roof.
Oh, Groover's ran a little wide there.
Oh no, that's not good. Oh, he's just clobbered the curb on the exit, and that's another position there for Mando.
You know, Steve F1 dipping his wheels into the gravel at the second Lesmo. You know what? You can tell he's had a bit of practice getting out of that gravel trap, because the amount of times you do that, you end up facing the wrong direction. You can tell he's had some practice recovering from that.
I think the key thing there is just keep the steering wheel straight. As soon as you start turning, you're spinning.
Oh yes. So I was going to say something a moment. That was it. Gary through the second chicane, I think got himself a little bit out of shape. Groover got himself out of shape on the way in, Gary on the way out. Groover then tried to take evasive, ends up nearly spinning and losing loads of time. Gary ends up staying as the cork in the bottle with Mandalorian behind him now.
Right, so here we go then. This is a bit of a train, but Mandalorian, if he wants to get in the fight for the lead, he needs to overtake Gary right now, but luckily Gary, I think, is heading for the pit lane.
He is, and Steve F1 has just dived into the pits as well, and I think that's for a new set of tyres, with him having gone off at the Lesmo.
Right, Fluffy, what position's he in? He's looking around P7. He's got Mitch in front of him.
Oh, he's coming in a bit hot into that braking zone, or was Mitch being a little bit cautious there? I'm not sure.
Oh, well, to be fair, that's quite opportunistic, but there were a little bit of a tap there. I don't think Mitch will appreciate that, but to be fair, they both got away with it quite quite well. I think Mitch probably lost about a second or two there. But yeah, Tyler, he's been in this fight for the majority of the race with Mandalorian, and he's still not giving up behind him.
Yeah, that is definitely true. I mean, with Dave Hart leading the race at the moment, I think he may be on a similar strategy to, I was going to say Demon R and Steve F1, but I don't know if Steve F1 will be able to get to the end, having pitted when he did, because 18 minutes...
Mandalorian will not be able to get to the end of the race, so I think he's going to have another pit stop, but I think when he has that pit stop, it's going to be quite short, because we're in the pit lane a long time.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, well, I mean, okay, with the fuel burn rate around this particular track, as Dave Harp is heading into the pits, so that's going to give him, what, 16 and a half minutes? 16 and a half minutes should be just about doable for Dave Harp on fuel. For Steve F1, though, doing the extra lap or two could mean having to do quite a bit of fuel saving. Demon R into the pits, and he's got a lot more fuel in his car at the moment, which means he's going to have a shorter pit stop than Dave Harp.
Yeah, SGP heading into the pit lane as well, so they're all having the same idea. The guys that are normally up at the front try and pit now and get to the end of the race, as Tyler's giving Mando a little bit of a bum draft there.
Yeah, you know what, I like that, because it's a way of protecting yourself from attack from behind. Oh, Mitch, he's attacked Fluffy from behind, and Fluffy
I think
now
that may be payback for the previous lap. That was like, yeah, you put me off here, you could be, I think, worse.
I think he's waited for him though, which is good. Obviously, I don't think he's done anything intentional, but yeah, he's waited for him at least. Dave Hart though, he's made all of his pit stops. He's come out in 4th place. I've got to say, he's in a position to win this race, James. And
yeah, I think he's been in a position to win the race from lap 1. He's really impressive here today, definitely.
He doesn't seem to be having a problem with tyres burning out either. I mean, looking at his lap times, they're looking fairly consistent on the right side of the screen. Yeah,
indeed. And he's just making the most of this. So how many times has he pitted now? That's
twice,
it. Yeah, I don't think he'll need to pit again. So, whereas these guys in front, I'm pretty sure they're going to have to pit again. So Groover there in P3 at the moment.
What a battle we've got here though. Steve F1 ahead of Demon R, ahead of SGP, the top 3 drivers from the last championship, battling it out for what they thought would be the victory, but actually it doesn't look like it's going to be the victory on this occasion.
No, this is the fight for 6th place at the moment. So,
Mandalorian into the pits, Tyler into the pits.
Right, so as I said, Mandalorian, don't think his pit stop's going to be for long. Steve F1 into the pit lane, that's surprising that. But yeah, SGP, I think he's going to go for an overtake here. And I think Mandalorian just exited the pit lane.
Yeah, so it was a little splash and dash for Mandalorian. That's obviously just to get that extra little bit of fuel so he doesn't have to do any fuel saving whatsoever. SGP making the move on Demon R then, and that's a situation again where Demon R has not fought that position because SGP was clearly alongside. Not to say the overtake is done, but you can fight it really hard and lose a ton of time, or you can accept that the overtake is happening and lose a little amount of time as possible.
Because it's going to be a bit more difficult to overtake near the end of the race, but it's who gets over the line at the very end. It's not who's in front right now.
Exactly.
But Davey Hart sitting pretty with nobody in front of him now. Bunsell sitting in between himself and SGP, and I don't know. I think Bunsell's just run quite long here.
Oh, Conrad! I'm not sure. It looked a little bit like Conrad ran a little bit wide there, tagged Twilight, and just made him dip a wheel in the gravel. Demon R still behind SGP. I'm wondering if Bunsell can get to the end. If he can get to the end, and he's in a legitimate opportunity for second.
No, I don't think he can. I think he's currently right now he's sitting there because he pitted quite late. And I think he's just running the fuel tank dry. I think he's probably got about 3 laps max before he's in the pit lane, but that'll just drop him right to the back.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens here then, whether Demon R is going to attack SGP or whether they're just going to try and catch up to... Oh, he's having a look. No, he's... See, it's interesting that doing that as the driver behind, you're basically letting the car ahead know, look, I'm here, But the movement of the car then says, don't worry, I'm not attacking you. So you can focus on the corner. But it still makes SGP have to look in his mirrors, compromise him through the corners a little bit, and now the opportunity for the overtake is on. No, back out of it.
Yeah, and them front brake discs are absolutely glowing there. Demonar giving SGP a little bit of a punt in the rear as SGP almost stopped on that second curve there.
Yep, Mandalorian closing in as well, as we can see there on at Demonar, and to be honest, Tyler's not that far away, and neither is Steve F1, who both of those, or all three of those, Conrad's a little wide in the background, yeah, I think all three of those have made their final pit stops. Yeah. Bunsell could be a key factor in what happens in this race, you know, if SGP and Demonar are catching him up.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this? Gary, who's Gary attacking? He's attacking Twilight by the looks of it into Ascari.
Yeah, so there's a lot of dark liveries out there, and you probably do with Twilight's name to be bright white because it does not stand out. Similar with Gary with black on silver, it's quite difficult to make out. But yeah,
well, it's interesting you say that. I have been creating new names for the drivers, new name tags, and the drivers can put them onto the cars, as SGP has. He's now got a yellow S with a red G and a P. Steve F1 has got a slightly new one as well. He's already on the car as SGP is making the move on Bunsell. Is he? No, Bunsel's fending him off. I'm liking it, but Bunsel's now gone wide and he's lost the rear end.
No, I think SGP's just given him a little bit of a tag to help that rear end round. So, yeah, I don't think he'll be wanting to overtake him here because I think he'll feel that's a bit of a dodgy move. But that's just slowing down Demonar. I think that's allowing Mando to close in.
I think you could be absolutely right. I think Demonar was trying to do a bit of a bump draft there, but SGP was trying to make sure he didn't overtake Bunsell. This is all getting a little bit messy now, and Mandalorian coming in a lot quicker as Demonar is definitely compromised there by SGP and Bunsell. But yeah, that's racing.
Yeah, SGP now still stuck behind Bunsell, and I don't expect Bunsell to be out there for long. So SGP, is it worth fighting Bunsell?
Well, yes, in a way. To a degree, he's got to get past him because Dave the Harp is what, 10 seconds up the road, something like that. No, well, maybe not that many.
Yeah, I think he's about 8 seconds up the road from SGP. Oh, that's not a good line there for SGP. That's going to give away a few seconds having dirt on the tyres.
Yeah, he's going to have to be careful through the final corner and the turn one. Mandalorian.
Demonar having a look round the outside of Mandalorian into the final corner, and this can be doable in this car.
Yeah, as you said, James, this car loves the faster corners. Oh, we're going to end up with 3 wide, and there we go. Bunsell is into the pits. Here we go then. The first real 3 wide we've seen down the main straight here at Monza. Who's going to be the bravest? Who's going to make the move? Who's going to back out early? Well, you know, I think Demonar's being the cautious one here.
Yeah, Mandalorian having to take a lot of curb there because he knows, obviously, with having 2 other cars at the side of him, it's going to be tight in there. And yeah, he's managed to get in front now, but Demonar's got his nose in there and he's trying to get past SGP now.
That he is, so going cautious through turn 1 has helped him up towards the second chicane, but SGP, oh no, Demonar covering SGP off. And
yeah, that was a polite way of saying the door's shut, mate.
If your name's not down, you're not coming in. I'm pretty sure I just grunted then as well by accident.
Oh, Demonar. I think Demonar may have just a little bit of a love tap with the barrier.
Oh, where's Mando going?
Oh, Mandalorian brakes about 5 metres too deep there. That's allowed both of them back through there, I think.
That's a bit of a shocker for Mandalorian now, yeah. I've got to say. It's not a corner. Yeah, it's not a corner you'd normally expect to see a car run wide and not go off. So he's done well to not go off, but at the same time, he's just lost 2 places after fighting like mad. Now, Demonar's ran wide.
Oh, can he hold it though? Where is he? There he is. Yeah, we're expecting him to be going completely sideways now. And yeah, here's SGP. He's going to have a decent run into the final corner. Now they're not fannying about, they're really fighting each other tooth and nail now.
Well, the interesting thing here, James, is that while these guys, SGP, he's lost it on the not on the barrier, but he's on the barrier now.
It's the AstroTurf. The AstroTurf, he just dipped the rear wheel and it just spun up and spat him out.
Well, yeah, I mean, get the wheels on the curb, that's one thing, but dip a wheel on the AstroTurf. But yeah, around she goes.
Oh, Mandalorian taking no prisoners straight away back in front of Demon R. So that mistake that he made earlier, he's just regained, well, one position from a driver spinning off and the second just from slipstream there. So yeah, I think somebody's looking after him today.
Yeah, I mean, the incident, the spin that SGP's just had as well, I mean, it's kind of like a all side by side. This is tight. They're making each other work here, but this is lovely stuff. And Steve F1 trying to close in as well with Tyler right behind him. I was going to say, this spin that SGP's had, it's kind of like 1 in a million chance of spinning like that.
Yeah.
But that's all it is, that extra millimetre onto the AstroTurf. And around she goes. That will have caught him massively by surprise. But yeah, I was going to say, when SGP and Demon R and Mandalorian caught up to Bunsell, they were about 6 seconds behind Dave the Harp. Now,
about 10.
Well, yeah, now they're about 12 seconds behind Dave the Harp.
Yeah, and Groover and Twilight there going tooth and nail into a Scary. That's not the line you want to take, and that's definitely not the line you want to take.
Yeah, definitely not the line. Oh, it's Steve F1. He's come out of nowhere to get onto the back. Actually, hang on. Demon R has dropped off the back of Mandalorian massively. I'm wondering if Demon R has been off at Ascari as well, because he's nowhere near the back of Mandalorian now. Yeah,
he's gone up the road, but yeah, Davey out right now, he's sitting pretty, he's got none of this to worry about, he's just got a 10-second buffer.
Aye, Demon R then fighting back on Steve F1, a bit like Mandalorian, made some mistake and then comes straight back at it, but he's going to have some work to do now to try and catch up to Mandalorian, especially with Steve F1 right up his chuff. Got to mention as well, Steve F1, the current champion in the Dynamic GT League, that's why painfully he's got the number 1 on his car.
Yeah,
Demon R hasn't.
Yeah, but 2 champions going at it now around Monza, and this is what we like to see.
Aye, Demon R just about holding on to the position. Interestingly, Demon R's got what number has Demon R got? Oh, the number 5. I wonder what that's all about.
5?
Yeah.
I didn't think he was a Sebastian Vettel fan.
He's not.
Oh.
I wonder if it's got to do with how many championships he's got.
Oh,
Steve F1's got 1, Demon R's got 5.
You know you can't change your numbers, you decide.
Considering that I create them, I'm saying I'll tell you what, we've got a cracking battle going on here from 5th down. Oh, I want to mention as well, 35 minutes has just passed. One of the new regulations in the Dynamic GT League is in the last 5 minutes of the race, so from 35 minutes onwards, if you hit somebody off the track and do not wait for them, it's a double points penalty. If you hit them off the track but you do wait for them, you're still going to get a penalty, but it's going to be the normal rate of penalty. And we'll talk about that a little bit more after the race, because SGP is in the middle of a mass battle here.
The main reason that rule was brought in was just to try and prevent carnage at the end of the race, which was what we normally find. But yeah.
Mando's gone deep!
Again.
Yeah. That Gone Deep, he's very famous now in the DGT League. Gone Deep, along with Binned It.
Yeah, well, he hasn't binned it yet, but he's gone deep twice.
Groover's facing the wrong direction there. Bunsell and Mitch getting a little bit messy. SGP, I think, has been caught up in that as well, as Gary's being put under pressure. Gary's had a very slow exit out of turn 1 there. He's lost 2 positions.
Yeah, there could be a lot of drivers here with minus points if he carries on like this. And Gary having a little look in a gap.
You don't want to make it 3 wide. Yeah, you don't want to make it 3 wide into that corner. 2 wide's tough enough.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, SGP almost spinning it there on the curb, managing to get away with it. But yeah, just having to go 2 by 2 around every corner, just hemorrhaging time. Oh no, is that a tap there from Gary?
I think it may have been, I think it may have been a little tap from Gary. It's easily done on that occasion. But I mean, what I would say is, 2 wide into the second chicane, it is doable, but it's tough. If you're on the inside line, if you get your braking right, you can do it. Gary's waiting for SGP, so yeah, he definitely gave him a bit of a tagging. But yeah, if you're 3 wide and you're on the inside, that ain't your corner. That is not. You are coming up to a instant 90-degree corner. You can't. It's not going to go well.
Definitely.
But this is the thing. I mean, the rule that, as you mentioned, has been brought in is to try and prevent people from taking too big a risk and getting a little bit frantic. Towards the end of the race.
I think Bunsell were about to go airborne, heading for a sausage curve the size of bloody Mount Everest. And but right now, this is the order. We've got Davy Art with a massive lead over Demon Eye P2. This is still kicking off back here with Mitch, Bunsell, Twilight, and Groover.
Yeah, that it is. Well, that's slowly spreading out a little bit.
But yeah, the top guys from P2 to P4 still very, very close.
That they are. I'm just trying to have a look. You know what? I think P2, Demon Art, is closing in on Dave the Harp. Or was Mitch all over the curves? SGP's in 11th place.
Yeah, that's disaster for him. Absolute disaster. But yeah, I think right now, Dave Hart's just realised he ain't going to get to the end of the race. He may have pitted maybe a lap or two too soon, and he needs to do a little touch of fuel saving, and that's hemorrhaging him time now. But luckily he's got enough of a buffer just to comfortably do that.
Groover up alongside Twilight, who's right behind Bunsell. Bunsell taking a lot of curb there. SGP closing in on the back of them as well. Groover couldn't get past Twilight through or into Ascari, but here comes SGP. We saw him after his spin dive into the pits for a fresh set of tyres, and that could be massively beneficial.
Just to let you know, Dave the App has just started the final lap.
So Dave the App has pretty much led this race from lap 1.
Yeah, he took SGP down into the second chicane, and he's not given up on it since.
Yeah, I've got to say, absolutely phenomenal from David Hart. Not seen much of him in this race, but there we go. Demon R open up a little bit of a gap to Mandalorian as Steve F1 trying to close in on the back of Mando in towards the De La Roche chicane. Steve F1 actually just posted his fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, I think he's really seeing P3 could be within grasp here if he can get Mando out of position.
Yeah, well.
Oh no, he just clobbered the inside curb there, and that will not help him. And SGP, you can just see a wall of cars in front of him, so that's not looking too good for him.
Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, these guys have been improving on each championship as each championship goes by, but it doesn't mean that they're easy to overtake. They're not easy to nobody's easy to overtake in this.
Well, it's definitely been hard to overtake the Apps so far in front that they're getting near him.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true. He's going to take, unless he bings it on the Parabolica. I mean, Demon R has closed the gap in, but I've got to say, Dave the Harm, first race in the Xanassin Trophy, and he's going to take victory, his first win in the Dynamic GT League, and he's going to take it here in Monza. What a start for him. Demon R recovering from a poor start to finish second. Mandalorian holds on for third. Steve F1 holds on for fourth. Tyler's going to take fifth place. A good result for him. However, what's happening in the battle further back? Fluffy, sixth place. Mitch, seventh. Twilight, eighth. Bunsell, ninth. SGP, 10th. And then Gary, 11th. Groover, 12th. And Conrad, he's spun it on the Parabolica. Well, either that or he's been hit.
No, I think we're hearing from his trackside. Yeah. Oh, he's out of fuel as well.
And here comes Rich Blues.
But yeah, I'm hearing from his trackside officials. He just completely binned it on his own into the final corner. So yeah, not a way to finish the race. But what a win there for Dave the Arp.
Yeah, I mean, I know he'd been doing a lot of practice, but to be fair, he'd done a lot of practice in other championships. I suppose we have to beg the question, how has that come about? Well,
I know that he did mention to us that he may have one of the settings that he had on the game may have not been helping with his tyre wear. But on the other hand, Davey Hart's the type of driver where if he finds a certain car that he clicks with, he's rapid. Absolutely rapid. Yeah. He reminds me a bit of Jenson Button in that way, where if the car's not really suiting his driving style, he struggles. But if the car suits his driving style, he's almost unstoppable. And this is quite ominous now with such a lead that he had over the rest of the field there. Monza is a tricky circuit because if you get stuck behind people, you're stuck. But I still think Dave the Arp will be a force this season.
Yeah, well, I mean, on the looks of that, yeah. I mean, what I will say is sometimes at a circuit like Monza, the person who makes the least mistakes can be the person who wins. And David Harp didn't make any mistakes today, that's for certain. However, Steve F1 champion made mistakes. Dean Manar, 5-time champion, made mistakes. SGP, contender every season for the championship, made mistakes. Mandalorian, the potentialist, made mistakes. So other drivers have made mistakes, which could... I'm not taking anything away from David Harp there, because he's not made the mistakes and he deserves the win.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
What I would say is, if he's managed to get on top of whatever it was that was causing him to shred tyres when nobody else was, then if he's been able to fix that, then that suddenly changes the confidence you have in the car. You don't have to worry about, oh, my tyre's going off this lap or anything like that. You can just, as he's done today, put those laps in again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And it'll be very interesting to see what happens at the next race, which I think is at Lake Maggiore. I should have confirmed it exactly, but I know it's at one of the Lake Maggiores anyway. It's been going across the top of the screen for the last 40 minutes, folks. I'm sure you'll know which one it is. Also, new feature we're going to be trying this season in this 9-race championship, this 9-race battle, is going to be some post-race drivers' comments, which will be collected and shown on the screen. We can't see them, so we can't read them, so we're just going to talk about whatever we want to talk about, James, while they play across the screen.
Right. Well,
So what do you have for breakfast?
I had Cocoa Pops and a scone.
With
do you call them scones? I call them scone.
No, scone. They're scones.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, you know what? Let's take this time to mention a little bit about... I mean, we touched on the change of ruling for the last 5 minutes of the races. Some people, I'm not saying they have, but some people may think that's a little bit odd and that's a little bit harsh. Apologies if you can hear a strange noise. It's just started to absolutely hammer it down here. Yeah, it's not something that I've ever necessarily done or experienced in any other racing league, but this is the dynamic GT league, and they want to try a way of getting people to be a little bit more cautious in the last few laps of the race. And the reason for that is earlier, well, in the first sort of half an hour of the race, the first 35 minutes of the race, if you get hit off and the other person waits for you, you at least have an opportunity to recover. So even though the person doesn't get a penalty because they waited for you, you have the opportunity to recover a bit and not necessarily get back to where you were, but you have the opportunity to regain some positions.
Yeah.
Within the last 5 minutes, you don't have any opportunity to recover. So even if somebody waits for you, you're still getting penalised by them hitting you off. So that's where this trialling of this system is coming into. I mean, there's no guarantee that it'll stay. There's no guarantee that it'll work. I mean, this is the thing. If you apply a system like this, and if the same things still happen, then there's no point having that system. Another way would need to be found. And at the end of the day, we're just a group of mates or a group of people that have become friends through doing a bit of racing, and it shouldn't necessarily be about slap your wrists and bend over and let me smack your arse, but at the same time it shouldn't be people getting hit off the track in the last lap or two.
Yeah, well, I mean, most forms of motorsport, you make a mistake, no matter what you do, you're getting a penalty. Mm-hmm. So, in a way, Dynamic GT League has been quite lenient by saying, well, if you let a driver back through, you don't get out. So, in a way, it isn't like as if it's been unfair. I think it's been overly catering for allowing drivers to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But I think probably from a few incidents at the end of last season where a lot of drivers could see in the last 5 minutes, obviously, everybody's getting a bit desperate at that point. Driving standards are dropping because people are getting too desperate and making desperate moves when they're really not on. That rule came in clearly because of conversations with the admins and yeah, I personally think it's a good thing, and
we'll see. We'll see if Mandalorian gets caught with it.
Yeah, it'll completely wipe somebody out there.
I mean, the thing is, we will. It's something that we won't know how it works until the situation occurs. I mean, I don't know if there was anything that happened in that race in the last 5 minutes. There may have been reported, but we'll see how it goes at the end of the day. I mean, we could end up with a lot of penalties in this championship, but what I would say is, given the nature of this car, it's a quick car and things happen quickly in it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like I say, I ran a league, and all I did was just put up quite harsh penalties, and there were no kind of way of getting yourself out of it, like pulling over and letting somebody through. Yeah, it's nice. It proves to the other driver you've not made a mistake. But the best thing is to basically hand out a penalty, and then it forces drivers to think, well, I can go for this, but is it really worth? If I cock it up, is it really worth being on less points? So I think that's why this rule's been brought in, just for the final 5 minutes. So even if you do cock up and you let somebody through, you're probably going to be getting a penalty as well. But it'll be even worse if you just carry on.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what it will, it may sound like we're being a little bit negative here, but what I actually want to mention is something that many people may not have noticed. Monza, a track of carnage. Even you said it. There'll be carnage there was no carnage at the start of the race. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, or turn 5. The only person that messed it up at the start was Demon R, the bloody noob.
Yeah, I do. I am still. I wish you could take that. The
reset off.
The reset off. That definitely need. And at least, do you remember on getting off on a bit of a tangent here? But on Project Cars, if you cut a corner, it'd dull your engine for about 4 or 5 seconds, so you'd have to pull off the racing line.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I was never a big fan of that, but I'd rather that than being reset. Because what Demon R did there, was he gaining any advantage? No. If he'd have tried to get back onto the track, it'd have been effectively going the wrong direction to try and get back on the track, and would have caused carnage. So,
or even if he had have safely made it back on track, when he started to accelerate, that'd have been about 2 seconds after everybody behind him had accelerated. So would have lost some places, but nowhere near as many as just being dropped to the back.
To the back, yeah. But I suppose, it's one of those things. It's to stop people from gaining or cheating, basically, and just going mental over the corners. Anyway, right, I think that is just about going to wrap us up. Hopefully you've been able to read the drivers' comments. I haven't got a clue what they say, to be honest. James, thank you very much for joining me on commentary once again.
Yeah, no problem. Looking forward to the next race. That'll be pretty exciting, with a lot more high-speed corners showing what this car can really do.
Yeah, definitely. The thing is, it's not the Lake Maggiore circuit. It's not a massive track, but it is quite a few high-speed corners. Yeah. There's a couple of tight, twisty ones at the start of the lap, but overall, it is a much it's a much more flowy track. Also, for the announcement that was shown before we got into the action today, which James hasn't seen yet, although actually by the time people are hearing this, he will have seen it, because
thanks for that inside knowledge. No, I'm only joking. He has not shown me what the car was. I'm just as in the dark as you are.
This is kind of a little bit like Stephen Hawking going on about time travel. Time travel is, you don't know what it is, but by the time you're listening to this, you will know what it is. So what came first?
It's like light when you're looking at a star. The light that is hitting your eyes, that's set off from that star fucking millions of years ago. So you're looking at the past.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're looking, if you could set time to 0, that star might be in a different position.
Anyway, right, time to check out the confirmed race result. Here we go then for the first time in this championship. The Xanassin Trophy Race 1 confirmed result. Dave the Harp taking his first victory in the Dynamic GT League and very much deserves it. Second place is Demon R, and in third was Mandalorian. Fourth place for Steve F1. He'll be disappointed with that, having started on pole position. Tyler finishes in 5th place, prefers this car over the Mazda, that's for sure. Fluffy Planet finished in 6th, he loves that position, and Mitch finished in 7th, and unfortunately he has received a -5 point penalty. Twilight finishes in 8th place, just ahead of Bunsell in 9th and ahead of SGP in 10th. Formula Gary finished in 11th with Groover 12th, and we saw Rich Blue sneaking past Comrade right at the end to finish 13th and 14th respectively. Unfortunately, Jason, SRI and Jimmy were unable to make today's race. Right then, let's see what that has done to the drivers' standings. Dave the Harp leading the way for the first time in 6 seasons. He'll be delighted with that. Demon R sitting in 2nd, Mandalorian 3rd, Steve F1 4th, Tyler 5th, Fluffy Planet in 6th, Twilight moves up to 7th, and Bunsell moves up to 8th, SGP moves up to 9th, and Formula Gary moves up to 10th as Mitch drops a number of places with that 5 point penalty. He's now sitting tied 11th with Groover. Rich Blues sits in 13th place with Conrad in 14th, and then Jimmy, Jason and SRI. They're all technically tied for 15th, but all on 0 points, having not raced yet. The next round will be from the Lake Maggiore West Circuit. That's for round 2 of 9 of the Xanassin Trophy. Make sure you come and join us for all of the action from that one. I'm sure it'll be feisty. Could Dave the Harp be the new contender for the next champion? Or Steve F1 come back with a vengeance? Demon R, can he retain a title, or will SGP be able to sneak into the fight and probably take what he deserves as well, which would be victories and a title? We'll have to wait and see. I've been Dave, thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you all again soon.